So, after having spat on the face of the brother of the mother, who was the head of sciences at Warsaw University and Science and Tech and Art, the old news on the news, who said to me the Polish intelligence couldn't do the mirror of the original Jamila in Russia, and the cousin of the father, who was the head of Science and Tech and Art in Cairo University, who said that the mirror of Jamila was Saudi Arabian. Mir means the black stuff, is a venta. So, if that's the tech you lost on the bus lines, you see, you think that this girl came back after her head was smashed in on the bus lines for nothing, like the innocent bystander. The reason she connected the dots for white to globals was to show La Sapienza is empty. So the poppy fields on the bus lines are the science and tech and art. So take the hint why Elon Musk, for instance, would have moved to Texas. Okay? So I grew up with her. Now the psychos, there's old news on the news now. After smashing in the girl's head in, you had the Phoenix, this baby, come in and out, 221, Delph, literally the wormhole for the world, which is difficult enough on the ghost lines. Now, connect the worlds. You see, you can call me Bin Laden, that's okay. He's a terrorist, but he's better than the Mossad or the CIA. Because even the CIA doesn't like the Mossad. You see, America is America. It's not Israel. You wanted to be Israel for the last 80 years. But if you look at the history of the Jewish tribe for 8,000, 10,000 years, they were annihilated. They were the Untermensch, meaning the undermen. If my intelligence was smashed on the ghost lines and you have Ubermensch buildings in 80 countries with Ubermensch coming out of them in batches that look like me, and that's the old news on the news, the nails connected us for white globals, you are fucked on the ghost lines. Because those buildings are my buildings. Do you understand that? So this fairy tale of the baby who lives inside the house as a trained poodle tells me you will never get the intel on the coastlines. Because if in Western Europe, La Sapienza University is empty on the first, second and fifth floor, and you have buildings in mathematics that are empty, literally, and Tiziano Vianis pointing at that and saying, that's a poppy field. And I'm looking at it and there's a Scotland film at the age of 5. And I'm saying it doesn't look like any poppy field, doesn't look like science and tech, it's empty. If anything, it's like the literature division because this plan has, and it's emptying. You don't like the J-Lo concept coming from China, but the truth is, if you assassinated the intelligence on the bus lines, you don't have it anymore. You can fall with the girl, you can have plan has with the girl, connect the dots for white to globals, because we're sticking to meantime, stupid time. Mentally retarded time, no. You even spat in the face of Martin Snowden, who was the head of sciences with blood at the age of 15 colleges. Brian Davis, Colin Hills, the whole shit. He spots on everybody. That's the sciences division. That's the breakers. That's the flyers and the runners. And the proverbial smashed in the head girl, Phoenix, crawler, crullies, little crullies near the end, crab to crabby. That's why it's all your PhDs. Couldn't I shit on the ghost line? So stick your fucking piece of paper or PhD up your ass. Shut the fuck up. Because I had my head smashed in on the ghost lines. And I'm not afraid of you. Because I know what that girl was. She was famous for what she did in the world. And when you smashed her head in on the ghost lines, you denied the existence of the original Jamila. But Jamila came back from the dead. She came back. The Phoenix came back from the dead. And miraculously, after smashing her head in, she got bills. How did that happen? PhDs? Chippy. So the losses on the coastlines were real. Nah, for Fresno, for the parents, that's something else. That's their retirements. You mentally that piece of fucking shit, Fresno. You little cockeyed Fresno. Let me put it this way. You got the hanging benches of Lord Winters and Napoli to right defending both parents. On both sides. The Supreme Court of the Supreme Court at highest levels. Are you talking to me about the intelligence of Fresno? Tom and Jerry Dyer tells his buddies, his friends, his everything. Let me put it this way. And not Tom and Jerry Dyer tells one. The intel of Fresno. Meaning, Tom and Jerry Dyer tells. There's no fucking intel. They say they are. The intel within Fresno that was there. The agents, they are buddies with Tom and Jerry Dyer tells, aren't they? You're working together, aren't you? And what about your girlfriends in the nursing homes that were picking on a dead baby? You call me a genetic freak. You call Vanessa with the E.T. fingers genetic freak. You call Kirkland from Germany with the long legs in the genetic freak schools in the UN, with Julieta Novo and Laura Quintas and all the others, and Shinoa Potter, who is an Elon Musk kid, free education at the age of 5 in the UN genetic freak schools, a la faccia di Chino Pinochet, after smashing my head in on the ghost lines. You call them freaks. Let me tell you who the fucking freak is. You can't even look at the baby after you smash the head, and she lives inside the house with you. Verbal vitriol towards me and the parents. Verbal vitriol. You're inventing shit in Fresno. You know what it means to invent shit for the entire communities in Fresno, for the parents, let alone for that shit on the coastlines? You dead. And you don't want to admit it. And that shit on the coastlines is void. And yes, I'm dead. Even the boys are dead. The Ubermensch are dead. For you. Why? Because I had my head smashed in on the coastlines. And what happened on the coastlines is between me and the CIA with the black hats. Culo de Flores. And I live in the house, so you better shut the fuck up. I could connect the dots to a wise to go past. The kingdom coming back. And Tal couldn't even come up with that. You joke. You're not even fucking the nation. Nah, and you said, oh, that shit's empty. The nails, the Fall, the Mermaid, the Titanic, the whole shit. That's all news on the news in 80 countries. They're looking at me like, what about the Baharas? What about the Baharas? And they're looking at me like, I know there's something behind that girl. And they see the shit board. In other words, when you lose, that's when you notice. You notice the proverbial loss when you lost it already on the coastline. Ma vattene a fanculo che cazzo di capo. Ma scusami. And then you say to me, culo de Flores. You know what? You're such a bunch of assholes that the children around the capital cities have worse than revolutions, worse than royalty. The cats, the dogs, the birds, the zoo out there, even through me, for the barons. Against Fresno's famous intelligence. As for me, you know, this is spoke that film. And saying roll for retirement. And shut the fuck up. He sent psychos to the girl. Why? Because she's an uncomfortable reminder about what used to be as a reality by now on the ghost lines. Oh, money. You know what? Keep your fucking PhDs. All of them. Nobody needs them. From the bus. Yeah, and what about Lady Halley? You want? Oh, no. And another thing about Barilla, and the ex-mayor of Rome that I was a caregiver in Rome, he's like, I dream to lose with the most intelligent forever and ever than to win with the stupid. I'm looking at it, a fucking high school shades exactly. And then he's like, you know what? Those assholes are such like, you know, as much as I don't like corruptions, even the Siciliano, Antonio Siciliano, you know, he speak of mafia, you know, quite frankly, they were the ones who've elected Gualtieri. If it wasn't for the Southerners, the Napolitans and the Sicilians, those assholes would be right-wings right now. And no immigrant, nobody in Rome or in Italy would have Lazio. Gualtieri as a mayor married to a Brazilian, kissing his ass because he's not a right-wing fascist. Alla faccia di Dio with Mussolini. Motherfucker. No sacrifice, no. And so, as I was saying, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud on Facebook, because it was the Scotland film. And you can be sitting there and judging this shit, quite frankly. I've had enough. And so, you can pay your Ukrainian psycho here, your Ukrainian psycho there, that they collected in London. There's so many psychos in West London, especially Ukraine at the moment. Shoot. You know, he's not even Polish, he's Ukrainian. He's not that, but he's Ukrainian. He's the ones in London. Shit. He suicided 25 times. I went to the university for 2 years. Was he supposed to kill me? Why did he suicide 25 times? I know he had a predisposition to suicide, but that's a bit too much. Anyway, as for Heine, the same. Heine, was the Hells Angels in Fresno that moved to Stockton. There's the triads who don't have a high school education. Shootout. Radio Glo. Satanero. Resta Roma. Benvenuti. Daniela and Bruno Benvenuti. You're welcome to stay in Rome. Bruno and Daniela. I love actually high school. Fab. Between the ages of 13 and 14. By 15 I was already in London, so no fuck. I went to high school for free, college for free. I guess the free education after you smash my head down, I was like... What? Ship the yacht. What about the parents? And what's the beautiful shit of Jamila? That's not called Bin Laden. I prefer Bin Laden to the Mossad, really. He's not so much of a problem as the Mossad, but the American CIA. But you know what? Actually, they'll figure it out. And when they do, I'm leaving Hopefully, I have enough brains to figure that out by now. Even that. Huh? Ma, sti fascisti, signora mia, look at me. Yeah, I have nothing against cops, but American cops of the Tom and Jerry died out. A reputation to America. They're flat foot fish in California, the Californianos. And the baby's like looking at the shit, like, why did I come back? What about this Copeland film? If I didn't say this on Facebook, they'll think, oh, fuck was it saying it? Near the end of the number, I started speaking about it. Now, for the cycles, back to the Federalisch Italianisch Bundesstagisch. You see, they spoke about that the girl had been somehow abused in college, but that was very quick. And it passed when she was 15, 16. Yeah, and that she didn't have psychosis per se. But that passed, and that had been exacerbated by Fresno's behaviors, psycho behaviors, the psycho stalkers, yes, and therefore the stalker, the Ukrainian shit in Fresno, at the homeless shelter, Dolores, and that. So we have the Hague of Dirk and Van Dam, the Bureau de Veritas, that's shit on the ghost lines, that's empty, and I'm understanding, and of course, the Federalisch Italianisch Tribunalisch, against all your fucking assholes and psychos that you paid. Of course, because I was famous for something, and you were famous for smashing my head in on the ghost lines with the losses. So, I can say July 20th, 21st, but you won't even remember the original one. I was erased. I'm the stand-in for that girl. Well, smash her head in on the ghost lines, and pretty much erases the intel. So she was the leader of that. Of course, if she comes from Russia, her blood. Saudi Arabia, the UN, the Germans, the Europeans, the Woolwichers will know about it. So a lot of the scientists are there. So, in Rome and the UN. So obviously, if you smash that girl's head in on the ghost lines and you're still denying who the fuck she is, you're gonna have all your PhDs and that shit ain't reopening for your ass. It's as simple as that. You go to hell with a whole ship and yacht, and after smashing the head in on that person, you're just not gonna get any cazzo. And so I'm not gonna be the one who says you this, the rest of the world is. This is the tragedy, is that the nails was out there in 80 countries and 20 states. That was the tragedy that you didn't notice in the US after all those flyings and runnings. Now remember that the girl used to work on the ghost lines. No, in Fresno. Fresno is where the burns are entire. You fuck asshole. There is a multitasking part, I gotta give it that, yes. Except, you see me doing any other than living in the house as a stand-in trained pool. Are you crazy? As for the blues, as I can repeat, what the fuck happened on the ghost lines? I ain't gonna fucking tell them how that happened. Yo, go figure it out. Miraculous. Culous. I'm actually the prevention is better than you. Yeah, genetica. Oh shit. And that by now, if you take the pink over there, they have dentists. If you manage to get one or two blues, there's also dentists for that. Scott Glanton, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say it out loud because I don't want to offend your sensitivities after smashing my head in on the ghost lines and coming back like this, excuse me. And so you offended, as I says, Warsaw University, the brother of the mother, who said to me, this is all cheap shit, Jamila, because unfortunately you come from Russia, and that was the science attack. And the same in Cairo, all cheap shit. Saudi Arabian Mir, and La Sapienza, and Woolwichers. So if those guys fell with her, there must have been a reason. Now, the reason the Germans said something about that girl was because Amerikanische Huren, whether it's airspace or whether it's their Haufen by now. So sending me cycles abroad ain't gonna help with the Ukrainian because they'll tie it back to your cheap ass. They already did with the Italian tribunal. Attempted whatever and so forth. Yeah. That's 250 pages of abuse to the baby. Yes. Payats, avoid Payats, big shit, Payats, big buildings, empty in space science and tech. Payats, the underbelly of Drello, that many times around the world. Fuck you guys. You know, why don't you become famous for your own assholes? Literally. Why don't you become famous for your shit and then famous for having your head smashed in on the ghost lines and then having that shit empty because you're dead, coming back like this and sending cycles? That's what you're famous for. That's why we the Scotland film. That's not the blues either. Blues are somewhere else. For the Barons, it's something else altogether because the Barons are on retirements at Fresno. They were born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They are D1s, D2s, D1s, Austro mostly, although later on it became TCOR. But then that changed too because they didn't like that lady because she was a Nazi skin. And that office basically revolted against her, but now she doesn't even run that office. Bauer, her name was. I don't know if she's still employed, but I just know from the entire UN that they don't like her. So, it's not one person. You see, when it becomes many, many people and many masses, rather than only the intel, and then you have the cats, the dogs, the birds, and the bees, you're sort of fucked up first. It's intelligence. Guess I'm this by now? Or shall we go back to kindergarten at the age of 5? Lara Quintas and Ali Direct defending both Barons that many motherfucking times, even on my fucking crawlies and metro crawlies, literally. So the stand-in, Mademoiselle Innocent herself, ooh, shit. Try not to abuse her, because we know what she was famous for and what you're famous for. Because unfortunately, this is what I'm saying. You don't like it. You don't like hearing it. And you will not like hearing that because you yourself didn't do that shit. And you didn't defend the Barons either. You just sat there and spouted vitriol at me. Even verbal vitriol. So now, and before, you started the revolutions around those capital cities. And I'm not going to be the one telling you this to offend you further. But I am going to tell you that that's why you lose. So the biggest loser is the intel on the ghost lines with the smashed in head and the ship to yacht. Because obviously a girl like that wouldn't have been alone around the world and within the CIA. And if the buildings are empty at La Sapienza and in Woolwich and in Massachusetts and in NASA and in DC and other parts, if they know what that girl did and her intelligence, if it really was that phenomena and she was with a ship to yacht and not some Polish intel or Egyptian intel, Saudi Mir and Russian Mir and UN Mir, and the Germans are still speaking about the airspace, even her enemies, then it means that there's something wrong with you, US, just for me. That's why when you send psychos, we can sue your ass, kill your ass, we could put you back to federal prison in LA, and even if you were born in Fresno and you're sent to Frisco. If you pay someone like that Ukrainian guy abroad, he will either suicide or be killed. They already attempted to kill him in front of me several times. The German police beat him up across the border, dragged him out of the house. The Italians called you Ukrainish whorish, and they were not any religious people. The Brits, everyone. You have no clue how stupid you are and how hating you are as people. Because you see, this is not the intel anymore. The intel on the ghost line's already lost and is trying to cover its ass falling in plant hats. You, on the other hand, are showing something else as people, to me. Like a bit, and for the blues, it's none of your business. Quite frankly, that's all news on the news, the nails. Connect the dots for wise to grow bars. That's not the parents. Born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities, Pishas and Noros, D1s and all that, and the hanging benches of Lara Quintas and Ali Direct. This is now you are paying for all of this so that you can feel good about your achievements. Yes, goodbye.